Welcome, everyone. My name is Jeff St Laurent, and this is the Tuesday Live Show, and I am excited to bring on my guest in just a second. Before we get going, a few housekeeping things. I do record all these shows, and I put them on my website, sellingcoaching.com. In my university, I help coaches transition to a full-time business, and so I've got a lot of fantastic resources there for you. And right on my homepage, I've got a great resource for you to start off with. If you put your name and email, and you'll get a free audio recording resource, and it's Launching Your Coaching Business, the First 3 Vital Steps. So I want to get past that because I got a cool guest today, and I want to welcome awesome web designer Jason Gracia. Welcome, Jason.
Hey, thanks so much, Jeff.
Awesome, man. It's good having you. So we finally got to do this because we had a couple interviews booked, and then you had to go ahead and have a baby.
Sorry about that.
I know, right? So congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So how's everything working out with that? Everything's good so far?
We have a 4-year-old, and so it's been 4 years since I've heard that cry, the screeching, ear-piercing, blood-curdling cry. But I'll get used to it. It's fine.
Exactly. So, well, I'm excited because I've had a couple different web designers that I've recommended to my clients over the years, and I came across you not too long ago, and I was like, you reached out to me through the things that I was doing, and we had a conversation from there, and I'm like, I like this guy. Like what appealed to me to you is that you're personable. When we connected, we had one of these interviews like this, and I'm like, oh, this guy's cool. He's easy to talk to. But what the coolest part is a couple things. Is number one was I love the fact that you knew your stuff. You're good at what you do, but you weren't just designing websites. Like you did, like the websites I've seen and the people that I've recommended you so far are super happy with you. But they look fantastic. Your price point was awesome. But even more importantly, you knew your stuff and you design your site specifically for coaches. And I'll get this over to you in a second, but I was just raving about you. And the other part was,
I can listen all day.
Yeah, no, but the other part is that what I like the most, because this is important to me, is that you didn't just come into the business designing this for coaches because like you liked web design. It's like you actually had a business where you needed a website that you created and created results with it. And from the marketing side, you understood the marketing piece. So
right
now I want to hear a little bit from you, obviously, but that's like my little talking you up because I think you offer a lot for coaches, which is why I'm excited to expose you to them because I feel like they can really benefit from you. So tell us a little bit maybe of your story of, how you got into doing what you're doing now is designing websites for coaches.
Yeah, definitely. But thank you so much. I need to just bring you around with me whenever I meet anybody, and you can do my little intro.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. So you're right. It didn't just start with let's design websites for coaches. So 20 years ago, long time ago, when you could go outside and it was safe to see people, I built my first website, and it was because I wanted to be a consultant for businesses, but I just didn't feel right consulting for business when I never ran a business. So this was going to be my little pet project. So I started a personal development website because I always just loved personal development. I was that weird kid growing up. And so I started this little website. At night, I would work on it, and it started to grow. And I became obsessed. I love this idea of personal development, but also technology and the web. And 20 years ago, it was like I was using CDs from AOL. It was the old school, but I loved it. I was hooked. And so I just kept learning everything I could about how to get results from a website. And eventually, this little pet project, it blew up. It became the #1 motivation website in the world. I got millions of visitors, 135,000 email subscribers, and I made over $1 million. So I wrote books, courses, coaching, consulting, quit my job, ran this thing full time. So yeah, I still can't believe that this tiny little thing, I was going to spend a few months on it. It became my life. And then several years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. And so we talked about that. And at that point, I tried to keep running things, but I just couldn't. The chemo and radiation, it wiped you out. And then I had to go through surgery. So that business, I had to shut down. I had to kind of push pause. But I got to think a lot. And so during that time when I was thinking, I realized when you go through something like that, I'm sure anyone listening has been through that. You want to make sure that your time is spent is the most valuable it can be. And so I just said, I don't know how much time I have. This whole cancer experience showed me that it could be gone tomorrow. And so I got to make sure that the time I have, I make the absolute best of it. So I realized running my own site, I could help how many people I could help. But if I helped people who helped people, then it could magnify, it could multiply. And I really love that idea that I don't just have to help the end user. I could help people who are helping others. And by that, it could be exponential. And my impact would be more. And that meant a lot to me. And so that's what I decided I want to do. If I beat cancer, which so far, 3 years cancer-free. So I'm winning so far. But that's what I want to do. I want to start a new company that helps the helpers. And for me, the helpers meant coaches, because I've done a lot. Over that 20 years, I've worked with a lot, authors, coaches, consultants, speakers, but nothing spoke to me like coaches. I just admire them so much. I respect so much what they do. And you can't beat a human helping a human. A book is one thing, a course is another, but nothing can deliver the impact that a human being can when they reach out to you, virtually or in person, and say, I'm here to help. That's what I wanted to do. And what would I do for them? That was obvious. Coaches usually hate technology because they didn't get into it to be website designers. So that's what I was going to do. If there was a thing that I loved more than anything, website design and business and coaches. And so I just put those guys together, and that's where Savvy Hippo came from, to solve that pain point for coaches once and for all, so they can focus on coaching and not installing the latest plugin for WordPress.
Yeah. Powerful story. I mean, really powerful. And I love the fact, like you said, you became that personal development guru, that expert who not only, created and helped people, but you also created fantastic results. And then, went through what you went through, and glad to see you. Hopefully you're still on the other end of that, and that continues. But now you're saying, all right, I have this skill set. I can help these people who are helping others, and take the technology piece away from it. That's the thing I'm a big fan of, is like, we're coaches. We're not IT people in the background, but yet we need to have something that's functional, that works for us marketing wise. So tell us a little bit about like the process that you developed, because I think that's a unique piece to what you're doing. And before we do that, hold on a second. You mentioned the name of your company, savvyhippo.com. So SAVVYHIPPO, and I'll have the link, with this video when I post it. Why Savvy Hippo? I didn't even ask that last time when we spoke, and I'm like, I could ask this guy, like, why Savvy Hippo?
It's the number one question I get asked every single call I do.
Which is great marketing, right?
Right. Hey, yeah, it works. Okay, so the basis of this was, my first website was Motivation 123. So pretty amazing name. That 20 years ago, you could get a name like that. Now it's got to be, motivation on the corner upside down with a monkey. So I didn't, with Motivation 123, I felt not stuck, but I kind of had to do something about motivation. And I loved that. That was fine. But what I realized was that name did close me in a little bit. And so with this new company, I wanted it to mean nothing. I wanted it to be whatever I wanted it to be. Now, I don't always recommend that for coaches. A lot of times I just say, use your name. It builds your brand and authority. So that's great. But for me, for this company, I just wanted that freedom. So I knew I wanted a nonsense name, something that I could give meaning to. And so I was upstairs, and this was in the middle of treatment. So I was just like falling asleep on the chair. And my wife was in the living room, and I was telling her this idea about this new company and this name that I wanted to mean nothing, but it's going to mean everything to me. And so what we decided was 2 words, adjective and animal. And I think there were just some other websites, Crazy Egg. I love that idea. I love those simple, easy to remember names, fun. And so that's where it started. And so I really liked Savvy, and we just started naming animals. And my wife just named, Savvy Squirrel, Savvy Giraffe. And then she said Savvy Hippo, and I was like, I like that. That's good. And yeah, so I latched on. Of course, no one else in the world had it, because that's just a weird name. And everything was available, so I got the domain and all the social handles, and then I just fell in love with it. And I think it's perfect. Today for me, it means, you know, life and freedom and happiness and excitement and something new. So it became everything I wanted it to become. But it could be anywhere. When it comes to hippos, you know, we can make them whenever we want them.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate the story. And there's a lot that it just shows your creativity and everything down to the relationship you have with your wife and everything. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So now tell us about your process. Cause I like the process you developed that you put together for coaches so that you're able to give them a very custom website, but also keep it very affordable for them.
Yeah, that's the most exciting thing about the company right now. So I started like every other designer, start from scratch. It takes 3 to 6 months, really expensive. For me, around 5 to 6 thousand. Designers range though, 10 to 20,000. So that's where I started, and I ran into two issues right away. A lot of coaches, especially coaches coming out of IPEC or something like IPEC, that's expensive. And so as soon as they're done and they're all excited to get started, to be smacked with another price tag like $5,000, even though the value is there for a website that expensive, I wanted to help these people, and that was a roadblock. Um, but it wasn't a roadblock enough to have clients come to me. And so because projects took so long and they were so intense, I was booked out for a year. So either it's too expensive or you have to wait a year. Not a good business model. Um, So I just happened to cross paths with a developer, and I was whining about this, just complaining about, I wish I could do this. I wish I could help more coaches more affordably, but still give them the same exact result of a custom from scratch website. And so we worked together for a year, and what we built was software that automates everything that could be automated, educates clients in a better way. So one of the things that a designer needs is the words. What words do you want on your site? Most designers say, send me your words, which is fine because most designers aren't copywriters. They're not internet marketers. They went to design school. But I'm a marketer, and so I knew the right words are everything. So we built this software that actually shows you step by step on every page the words you need to write, and you write them right there in the software. So you follow videos, I teach you what you need to write, and then you just click submit, and everything we need is sent to us, and then we put it into optimized layouts. So after 20 years, I know how a website should be laid out to get results. So we lay all your information right on top, and we can get that website down from 3 to 6 months. We can get it done in 3 days, and it's the exact same as when I used to do it. So it's 14 pages, funnel built in, email marketing, scheduling. You get a free lead generator, everything you need to have a beautiful, effective coaching website, and I got it down to 3 days.
That's what I love about it is like cost wise, but then also like time frame wise is that, it's like you got to wait forever to do your website, and it's just like, and I remember the websites that I've done, like I wish I knew you years ago because no, that's a part for me is, I love the website that I have, but the process that I did there, rewind back to like 08, 09 when I did my other website, same thing, $5,000. And it was like months.
It takes
and it was, and I was like, I'm paying all this money, but yet it's like, I have to do all this work. And it just felt like it was something wrong with it.
Right.
And it was frustrating,
Time is money. Like never was that more true than when you're a coach, because if it takes 6 months, that's 6 months you're not marketing your business like you could be, getting clients. So that's what I tell coaches when they want to do it themselves. They're going to take a year to figure this out. During that year, you could take on a dozen clients. So you might think you're saving a few thousand by building it. You're actually losing. It could be tens of thousands of dollars because of that lost time. So time really is money when it comes to the website.
Yeah. So what's the process that you started to talk about, like the unique process, but what's the process you take someone through where, they give you a call, they send something through your website that says, hey, Jason, let's talk. I'm interested in looking at you. Like, what's the process you take them through? And so what does it look and feel like from there?
Yeah. So someone who's just reaching out saying, hey, I heard about you from Jeff, who's this fantastic guy, and he has amazing lighting. What's next? So a long time ago when I wasn't as experienced, I would just send them like an order form, which thinking about it now, but we learned, right? So what I do now is I have an entire slide presentation. So we get on a live call. I let them know right off the bat, this is really about, this is a needs analysis. This is really to see if we have what you need. This isn't a high pressure sales call. There's no arm twisting. There's no sign up now or else. There's none of that. It really is, we have this thing. Do you need it? If so, this is great. If not, no worries. That's where I start. And it kind of really sets the stage. And I tell my coaches that too. You don't have to be a car salesman to succeed with sales. It's not about that. It's about building a relationship. Your clients are in pain. And if you have that solution, that is a win-win. You're not tricking them. You're not manipulating them into giving you money. It's not like that at all. So that's what I do. I set the stage. And then when I work through a slide presentation and I go step by step and I learn about them, I tell them a little bit about my story, and then I show them our process. And I do it live. I show them behind the scenes how it all works. I show them our layouts. I show them before and after of coach websites. And then I show them a dozen or so examples with testimonials so they know they're not the first ones taking this step. That's a big risk and worry with coaching clients and with design clients. They don't want to make a foolish decision. And so it really helps to show them other people have done this and they're happy. You're safe. You're in good hands. So yeah, I really lay it all out there. I show them exactly what they can expect, what other people have gotten, and then I open the door to them if they're interested in moving forward.
Nice. Yeah. So real simple process, but I love about it. And even my interactions with you when I was, when we were conversing, it's like you took the time, like you made a little presentation for me. you probably already had a presentation like that, but you talked to me and then we get on the phone and you show me and you walk me through the pieces of kind of like what you do. And even I had questions for you about my website, and you really took the time to, research and find answers. And I felt like you cared about me, like those are,
it's
go ahead.
You would, yeah. I mean, you would think that's just normal. You would hope that that's just normal.
Exactly.
We've all been online enough to know it's just not. So I knew that. Like, that's who I am. I think you can kind of tell. And you're the same way.
Yeah.
I genuinely want to help. And then when you go through something, and I know everyone hears this, but when you go through something like cancer, it's an eye opener. And so after that, helping people really mattered. Like, getting down to it, just helping. Yes, I want to grow a great business. I want it to be successful and profitable, but I also just want to help people. And that's what you're saying. I get that a lot from clients who they're a little surprised. Like, oh, you actually care about this, which is, you wish everyone would do that. They'd be a lot more successful. But yeah, that's the heart of my business is I want to serve. I want to help people because I know, we had a leak in the basement. And every single day I had to go down in the corner and I had these sopping wet towels and I had to go wring them out. And it was so stressful. I knew every morning that's what I had to do. Every time it rained, I just knew, like, I felt that weight on me. And then I hired an expert. He came in, he took care of everything, and I've never felt better. I never felt better paying somebody because someone who knew how to solve the problem lifted that weight off my shoulders. So that's what's in my head when I work with coaches, because I know how stressful this whole tech world is. It's gotten better, but it can be so stressful where you just want to rip your hair out. And knowing that, I love the ability to just reach over and say, I got this. I've done it before. I click a few buttons and then, and that's what I live for that. I love that. And so with that basement link, it's a silly story, but that is what I want to be for other people. I want to patch that leak. I want to lift that stress, and I know how good it feels. So I love doing that for others. So it's selfish in the end, right? I get this great feeling when I can finally just click the right button for them, and they can get back to living and not worrying about the website or, technology or plugins.
Oh, it's a great story, actually. It's a simple one, but it's a very great one because we can all relate to it for little things in our life where when you give it to somebody else who knows what they're doing and you don't have to be the person doing it anymore, and whatever you have to pay for it at that point, it's right? So valuable. It's so valuable. And you really described the whole premise of value for somebody. And this is a big contentious piece for coaches where it's like, they want to have this online presence. We need to have this online presence, at some point, and we can't half-ass it, and there's a lot of avenues, through do-it-yourself stuff. But at the end of the day, I've had a lot of clients over the years, and every now and then I run across a client and I'm like, oh, you did this yourself? Like, wow, that's good. But then you find out it's like, okay, that's like their thing,
Right.
and the people, the majority of sites I've seen that people do themselves, at the end of the day, like, yes, they have something, but it's a very poor representation of what they'd want their business to be.
Right. Because I think for coaches especially, the website's it's not this brochure. It's not this static poster. It is who it's a representation of who they are as people. It's your business, it's your brand, it's you. And so when someone cobbles something together, you're right. It takes away from their business, but also the image, the digital representation of their brand to the world. I take that so seriously because you got to handle that with care. That is who you are to thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people. So you want to get that right. And the funny thing with coaching is that coaches are asking their people, trust me because I'm the expert and I can help you get there faster. And then when it comes to their website, a lot of times, not all coaches, but a lot of times they push that away and they say, no, I'll just do it myself. Where their entire business model is invested in the idea that people hire experts. And so what I tell coaches is sometimes you got to take your own advice. Hire the expert to get a faster result, just like you tell your clients. You tell your clients, hire me to get a faster result. The same world holds true when it comes to web design, because this is a skill set. It took me 20 years to be able to figure out where to put that button. A coach doing it for the first time, 6 months, they're not going to be able to learn what they need to learn. So they might have something in the end. It's not going to visually be what they want. But like you and I said before, it's not going to work. That's what matters. I'd rather give you an ugly site that works than a beautiful work of art that puts you out of business. And so you need to know what you're doing. There's an expertise and a skill set to online marketing. And so if you don't know what you're doing, chances are you are not going to be able to create a website that works. It might look good. You might be happy with it, but you're not going to get clients.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that a lot, Jason. So if someone, is like, oh, I want to talk to Jason, or I want to at least maybe have them look at my website where they're redoing it completely or they're starting from scratch, what would you recommend they do in terms of reaching out to you to start the process?
They can go to savvyhippo.com. And then right on there, we have two options. You can read all about our service, the details, and then apply. But you can also book a tour. And that's what I suggest most coaches do. So you book a tour, you talk with me personally, and I just, kind of like we talked about before, I take you through the whole thing. So I give you a tour of our service and explain exactly how it works and how it can help you grow your coaching business. So if they go to savvyhippo.com, they'll see those two options, to apply or to book a tour with me.
Awesome. Simple. I like it. So Jason, I really appreciate you being on and sharing your expertise. I'm excited because as a coach, a mentor coach who works with coaches, they come to me and they either have a website already or they need a website. It's one thing that every person does. So that's like the leak in my basement. In other words, I don't have to necessarily solve it for them because that's not my expertise. But what my expertise is guiding them through a process. And I know, like you've said too, like I've asked you certain questions, you're like, oh, well, I stay in my lane. Like I'm really good at what I do. And if it's outside of my lane, I can refer you to somebody and I can help you, but I stay in my lane. And that's the same with me. It's like, I stay in my lane. And it's like, I don't do websites. So I needed to find someone or, people that like I could really trust, because like my people are trusting me. And so having met you and having seen the work you do and having referred people already and that are like completely like more than happy about it, like that's like the leak in my basement being like, all right, I have something. So I so appreciate you and your expertise and just who you are as a person. So thank you for sharing this today as well.
It's my pleasure, really.